Workers threatening to walk off the job on Monday. School boards across the GTA say they won't be able to keep their schools open without them. Our Kelda Yoon joins us from outside Niagara Junior Public School. So Kelda, amid all this, there's a slight glimmer of hope for parents tonight.
Well, that's right, Mike. There is a little bit of hope. Negotiations are set to resume tomorrow afternoon. But today, many schools across the GTA sent home notices to parents telling them that classes will be canceled on Monday if a settlement is not reached by then. And as you can imagine, many parents are now scrambling to figure out what to do. For a working mom like Shauna Albo, whose daughter Zoe is in senior kindergarten, the planning starts now.
Work doesn't really allow for staying home day after day, so I might have to find a temporary babysitter.
She's not the only one concerned about a possible strike.
It actually kind of sucks, to be honest, but thankfully, I have my mom to watch my son. I know there's a lot of parents out there that's going to struggle finding aftercare for children.
It's our last year in elementary school. It might affect our grades to the high schools that we're going.
6 of the largest school boards in the GTA say they'll close Monday in the case of a strike. This includes the Toronto District School Board and the Toronto Catholic School Board. All Peel District and Dufferin-Peel Catholic schools will also close, as well as all public and Catholic schools in York Region. The TDSB saying today, after a week of looking into every possible way to stay open, in the end, it couldn't jeopardize the safety of students.
Our CUPE workers are lunchroom supervisors, they're special education assistants, they're custodians, they're office administrators. All of these services that assist our students to be safe.
But while an inconvenience, some parents, like Leanna Salvador Watts, says she fully supports the CUPE workers.
If there is a strike, a full-on strike on Monday, then it would be a very significant disruption, all of which I truly believe is necessary to reverse these cuts and put the pressure on the government to negotiate a fair contract.
If schools do have to close on Monday, all recreation and after-school programs will also be canceled. Only third-party childcare programs will be allowed to operate inside the schools, and even those will take place with abbreviated hours. Meanwhile, talks, as I mentioned, are set to resume tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon and will likely continue through the weekend. I'll send it back to you, Mike.
Well, thank you, Kelda. We'll certainly be following those negotiations tomorrow night and all weekend long. Well, 3 St. Michael's College students entered guilty pleas today in a case that shocked the city last year. A total of 7 students at the elite boys' private school faced charges for sexually assaulting other students. Ali Chasson has those details.
Lawyers spilled out of youth court this morning after their clients pleaded guilty.
The fact that they have stepped forward, that they have taken responsibility, is going to move this case towards closure and is going to prevent a trial on this.
These kids were so young and they couldn't fully appreciate their behaviors.
According to the agreed statement of facts released today, that behavior refers to 3 different locker room assaults involving a broomstick. Rookie football players were held down by teammates and 2 victims were anally penetrated with the broom handle, while another student recorded it all on video. The teens were arrested and expelled. Almost a year later, here's where the case stands. Overall, 7 St. Mike students were charged with assault and sexual assault offenses. 1 teen had their charges withdrawn back in August after a prosecutor argued a conviction was unlikely. That's also when 2 other cases wrapped up. The Attorney General wouldn't publish the outcome, citing restrictions under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. There's 1 teen who has a hearing set later this month. But today saw the biggest development. 3 teens have each pleaded guilty to assault with a weapon and sexual assault with a weapon. One of them also pleaded guilty to an additional charge of distributing child pornography. When asked whether their clients had anything to say to the victims, the lawyers said,
I'm not going to comment about that. Thank you, though. Thank you.
I have no comment.
A tentative sentencing hearing has been set for November 14th. Ali Chasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto police laying charges tonight in connection with a fatal stabbing last night near St. Andrew's subway station. It happened just before 11. Police got word of a fight near King Street and University Avenue. A 62-year-old man was stabbed and rushed to hospital where he later died. Police say his name was Thomas Denny. Now, officers arrested a man a short distance from the scene. 38-year-old James Rushton is now facing charges of second-degree murder. Colette Kennedy's here with a first look at the forecast. Colette, I was leaving for work and I stepped out of the house and had that brief moment where I thought, should I put a slightly warmer jacket on? It was kind of chilly where I was.
Yeah, we're talking about temperatures below seasonal. That's right. I saw a few folks on the street today in light down jackets, which might have been overkill, but not necessarily.
No parkas yet, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I think I might be pulling mine out of the cupboard pretty soon anyway. This is what's happening, though. At least we're going to see some improvement with our sky conditions and get some sunshine coming back. It's a little bit gradual, so overnight that clearing is going to take its time. There'll be a few areas with some fog patches, so some reduced visibility, still a little bit of drizzle hanging in there. But it is going to be clearing, setting us up for sunshine on Friday, but those temperatures remaining cool, not parka cool, but cool. The end of the weekend, though, that's when we see the temperatures going a bit above seasonal. So the readings from today, Windsor, you didn't experience the coolness there, 20 degrees there, so still pleasant. There's some of that showery activity and drizzle moving away, getting into high pressure building in. That clears out our skies and at least gives us that sun not only Friday, but at least a portion of the weekend. I'll get into more details on that coming up, but overnight tonight, 6 degrees for the low, and tomorrow afternoon, 13 degrees are high, Mike.
I think you coined a new Canadian weather term. 6
What's
degrees is approaching parka cool.
Approaching parka cool. We'll be using that again.
Thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
Toronto will no longer grant licenses to new payday lenders. That move comes after a unanimous vote by city councillors, but they want to go further. They're asking both the provincial and federal governments to help protect customers from the high-interest loans offered by those businesses. Greg Ross explains.
Payday lenders act like parasitical predators who prey on our city's most vulnerable.
City Councillor Josh Matlow was not mincing words when giving his thoughts on payday lenders. It's why he supported the motion by City Council to stop issuing licenses for these types of businesses that he says can leave people drowning in debt.
They find themselves essentially held hostage by these excessive interest rates, and they're never able to really get out of debt for the rest of their lives.
City Council is also asking the province to put a cap on interest rates for payday lenders at 30% annually, and they want the federal government to limit fees to $15 for every $100 loan. But some wonder if this is the right solution to a much bigger problem.
People in desperate situations will do desperate things. The point is to help people before they get there and to give them better options and make sure they know about them.
Liz Mulholland is the CEO of Prosper Canada, an organization that works to help low-income people build their financial health.
Your big concern is if they don't have these options, they'll just go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think we've seen in Quebec where they banned payday lending altogether that people have just moved online and they're going to online payday lenders who are offshore or in other jurisdictions where there's no control whatsoever over them.
She says the government needs to work with legitimate financial institutions on finding ways to create more affordable options for people with low income or bad credit.
Access to safe and affordable credit is really necessary for anybody to fully participate in our economy. And a lot of low and modest income people don't have that right now.
Mulholland says the government also needs to provide more free financial counseling for lower income people in hopes of putting them on the right track before they find themselves swimming in debt. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
A Toronto woman is out nearly $2,000 and a wedding video. She hired a videographer for the big day last year, and she's been trying since then to get what she paid for. But as Natalie Nanowski tells us, her hopes of seeing that video are fading to black.
Here, you see some glitter?
Lily Nguyen knew exactly what she wanted in a wedding dress. It was the other details like finding the perfect videographer that were tough.
So my coworker, what I used to work with, recommended this photography for my videography.
Nguyen used Shelby Morel Photography. The celebrations were 2 days long. There was a Chinese tea ceremony and a party. For $1,800, she was supposed to get a 4-minute trailer and a full-length video 10 weeks after her wedding. But it's been more than a year. Nothing
was done. Nothing was delivered to me. She took something from us that nobody can ever replace. That's really very, very frustrating.
The company's website has been deleted, but online reviews have been popping up. Brides call the experience horrible, saying the photographer vanished. This woman has been waiting nearly 2 years for her video, and this one only got her photos because she threatened to go to the media. We went to the office's headquarters in Etobicoke. We emailed, tweeted, and called, getting voicemail every single time.
Hi, it's Shelby. Sorry I've missed your call. Please
Finally, after 2 days, Morel responded, apologizing and promising to reach out to the women by tomorrow, pledging they will receive what they're owed.
Unfortunately, stories like this aren't uncommon. Experts say the wedding industry has grown so quickly that inexperienced photographers are often willing to offer rock-bottom prices in order to get the job.
So you're paying for that skill set. So when I hear photographers that are charging $600, $800, $1,200, it's a very, very small amount. Some people are getting into the industry, they're trying to get business, it's understandable, but those are types of things that are red flags.
Burosic says don't expect to pay less than $2,500 for a good photographer, and get everything in writing.
Have a set of questions that you're willing to ask them. Things like, how many events do you take on per day or per week? What is included in that price? Are we including full day of the wedding? How many photographers will be on site?
As for Nguyen, she's considering legal action unless she gets the raw footage of her wedding day. Natalie Nanowski, CBC News, Toronto.
There's a lot of money to be made here. I think the landlord is trying to get rid of sitting tenants.
Tenants in this High Park building are being told they've got to go because their landlord says the type of building isn't subject to the same rules as apartments. But that may not be the case. We'll explain after the break. The provincial government is rolling back another series of cuts. These ones were for a social assistance program for children in low-income families. It's called the Transition Child Benefit. It's designed to help cover the costs of a child's basic needs. Specifically, though, it's for families like refugees or people with newborns who aren't yet receiving the standard child benefits that is paid through the tax system. The Ontario PCs were preparing to get rid of it next month, but a spokesperson for the minister says the decision to keep the benefit going was made after, quote, careful consideration. Well, attention book lovers, Mayor John Tory has designated today I'm Library People Day. They're places that promote literacy, of course. This is all to kick off Canadian Library Month. It's all part of an effort to raise funds for the city's library system.
Toronto Public Library is the busiest in the world, and every year its traffic continues to go up. Its downloads continue to go up. It's built 2 new branches in the last few years because demand is there. More than 70% of Torontonians use the Toronto Public Library system.
Well, the Toronto Public Library Foundation hopes to raise money for a new one of these. This is a bookmobile, a library on wheels with books, DVDs, CDs, Wi-Fi, and computers all on board. There are already 2 bookmobiles that make stops across the city and even across the lake to Wards Island. And tenants in a building near High Park are being told they have just days to pack their things and leave, but some of them say they're not going to budge, arguing that the evictions are against provincial rules. Lorenda Redekop has the story.
I'm in stress.
Zoltan Torek has lived here since May, but he and everyone else in the building were told they have to leave.
And now it's cold weather coming up, and I don't know what to do.
He received no written notice, just verbal. He has a small room and shares a kitchen and bathroom.
Okay.
He has proof of paying his rent, $180 a week, even the ad he responded to.
And I have money. I can pay a full month.
Parkdale Community Legal Services is trying to help tenants and has seen the pressure firsthand from the building manager.
Told me to get off their property and gave me a piece of paper suggesting that I was trespassing. There's a lot of money to be made here. I think the landlord is trying to get rid of sitting tenants.
The owner sent a statement with multiple words underlined, saying Windsor House is a tourist home. Tourist homes operate like hotels. People who check into tourist homes, like people who check into hotels, are guests. They are not tenants.
The same landlord tried to evict tenants on the same basis that this was a tourist home in the early 90s, and the court disagreed.
In an email, the city says the building is registered as a rental apartment building, and the owner has paid the associated fees for that. The building manager tried to kick us off the property today.
It's been a guest house.
Have you talked to the city? Their records indicate otherwise.
I will. What do you mean?
This lawyer says that term, tourist home, doesn't fit what this building is.
The idea of a traveler, the sense of non-permanence, a temporary home, and really a vacationer, someone who is transient.
The city then clarified that tourist homes are permitted in residential areas, but only in houses or townhouses with a maximum of 2 rooms for tourists. Zoltan Toruk doesn't plan to go anywhere, though he says some people have already left.
I need help.
You have every right to stay here.
I won't move out anyway.
Brenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Stand back, everybody. Watch out. Bianca Andreescu is on a roll.
That's an understatement. Bianca Andreescu's breakout season continues, facing Jennifer Brady at the China Open today. We'll have highlights after the break.
Nails it.
The weather update is brought to you by Train Extreme Conditions Testing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
Bianca Andreescu setting some more records at the China Open today. It was a quick first set against American Jennifer Brady. She broke her 3 times in the first set, taking it in just over half an hour, and she just continued that dominance in the second, winning it all 6-1, 6-3. That's her 17th consecutive match, which is now the longest streak of the season. She's also got a WTA best 48-4 record on the season. Her next match, about 10 hours from now, is a big one. She's facing former world #1 Naomi Osaka for the first time ever. That'll be in the quarterfinals. Colette's here with her extended look at the forecast. I know a lot of things happening this weekend. Never too soon to start talking about it. Nuit Blanche Saturday night.
Yeah, that's right. And it does look like it may be a little cool, but that we will have some decent conditions for Saturday night. So that's encouraging. I want to just point out the record low here because, maybe we're trying to transition into some cooler air and finding it a bit troubling. Well, that's really troubling that on this date in history in 1974, it was -5. And the day before, 1974, also holds the record. It was just a little over or under -3. So yeah, it could be so much worse than it is. We're just talking about gradual clearing tonight. It's going to take its time, so a bit of drizzle and some fog patches kind of hanging in there. And then as high pressure starts to dig in into Friday, it clears our sky. It's eroding those clouds. We get into sunshine, and we carry that on, those clear skies anyway, towards Friday night into Saturday. Much of the day Saturday is looking good as well. And I stopped this here at 10 p.m. So even Saturday evening, I know this thing goes through the overnight, but the next round of showers will be moving in. It looks like that'll be holding off, however, until Sunday. So coming for the second half of the weekend, but also it will be accompanied by some warmer temperatures. So those will be on the way. It's a few days yet before those will be getting here. For you in southwestern Ontario, 8 degrees tonight. Windsor, that's right, 8 degrees with still a few isolated showers at risk there. And those winds kind of cool from the northwest, so it makes it feel even cooler than that 8. And tomorrow afternoon, highs just in the mid-teens, a departure even from today, about 5 degrees cooler there, certainly, and a bit of cloud cover. We'll see that breaking up eventually as well for you. And into the GTA, it's taking its time. Those winds from the north, not only tonight, but we're going to have that northerly breeze through the GTA tomorrow as well. So that's something you may notice. 6 to 8 degrees for those overnight lows, and into tomorrow afternoon. Seasonal for this time of year is just over 17 degrees. So Indeed, we are running on the cool side of things, but let me just show you that encouragement of the warm-up that will be coming. So Saturday, not here yet. Sunday, it does come with some precipitation, but 19 to 20 degrees for our afternoon highs, much milder. And you know what? Looking into next week, it looks like we'll have a few days with some very nice conditions and nice temperatures too. So Monday at 17, Tuesday sunshine, and 16 for the high, Mike.
Looking forward to that. Thanks a lot, Colette.
You're welcome.
Have you ever wanted one of Mara's gowns or David's jackets? Now it's your chance to dress like a character on Schitt's Creek. I'll tell you where you can find the authentic attire right here in Toronto after the break.
Hi, I'm Arthur Simeon, host of Accent on Toronto 2019, CBC's annual comedy showcase right here at the Danforth Music Hall. I'm going to be here with Toronto's top comedic talent on Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. Please go get your tickets today. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster. Please go get yours today. No, I mean like right now. Like go. Like right, go get. All right.
Have you ever wanted to dress like one of your favorite TV characters? Well, if you're a fan of Schitt's Creek, you might get to. VSP Consignment on Dundas is selling outfits from the CBC show online, with part of the proceeds going to charity. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Marlo Granados. I'm the Content and Collaboration Manager here at VSP. For a consignment shop to be given a wardrobe for such a huge show is, I think, kind of unheard of at this point. And the reason why we wanted to keep it online was so Schitt's Creek's kind of worldwide audience would be able to have access to the pieces. This is a great opportunity for people who are fans of the show to get their hands on pieces that they would either recognize or they've always tried to find and coveted over the course of being fans. A lot of these pieces are fairly recognizable. I would say that we do, in our whole collection online, we have, for example, the Pamela Roland gown, which is a couture piece that has ostrich feathers. Moira wears it in, I believe it's season 5. And I think that's one of the biggest highlights of the collection right now.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Now, Aretha will be out in just a moment.
Oh, who needs Aretha when we have you, darling?
I think my favorite piece is this full-length Emilio Pucci gown. It has a very classic Pucci print, but it has the darker tones that you don't really see with Pucci. And she wears that in one of the Christmas specials, Moira does. I think when you see them online, it's really an interesting way of scrolling through and being able to pick out different pieces, especially with Dan Levy's sweatshirts, very iconic. Each piece, obviously, fashion has been such a huge part of this show over the course of 6 seasons, so I think each piece has been really pivotal in A, shaping the character, and B, moving the narrative along, and also being kind of a comedic factor.
Fashion, big part of that show for sure. Well, tomorrow on Metro Morning, Matt will preview this weekend's Nuit Blanche. That's the all-nights arts festival. It's actually expanding well beyond the downtown core this year with additional installations around Scarborough Town Centre and in Don Mills. You can hear what to expect tomorrow at 8:20 on CBC Radio 1. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.